Welcome back, everyone. And today I'll be discussing my Uber SD2 interview experience in detail. So, for most people, one of the main reasons for joining Uber is that they have a super amazing engineering team, which makes sense because the kinds of problem they have to solve in real time, like your cab matching, tracking, navigation, all of these are really complex problems actually. And not just that, they have to solve these problems at a scale, so obviously they have to develop elegant and sophisticated systems for handling all these problems. So I've read about their tech stack, technologies and architectures on their engineering blogs. These blogs are actually public and they are maintained by their engineering team. So you can, or rather you should definitely go through these blogs. So they are really amazing and insightful actually. And I was really fascinated by their innovations, and that was one of the main reasons I decided to take the interviews. Now, there are also a few reasons why someone might not want to join Uber. One of them is that though Uber offers a relatively higher base, still a large part of its CTC is stocks. And since Uber stocks have not been performing really well, and people are a little skeptical. Also, Uber has one of the most hectic work environments. So people who are looking out for some hardcore engineering and do not mind hectic work schedules actually prefer joining Amazon. Also, before this recession and all, Amazon was actually giving insane CTCs. Now, again, this is just what I have heard from my friends and people on Blind. Nevertheless, Uber is definitely a dream company for many, and it has a relatively more challenging hiring process. So I thought that this video might come in handy for a lot of people. So let's dive right in. Uber's hiring process is very similar to Amazon's hiring process. So there's an online assessment, then there's a qualifier round. Post that, there are rounds for DSA and problem solving, system design, which might be LLD or HLD, hiring manager round, and if required, then something like a bar raiser round. So online assessment is purely DSA based programming questions. For problem solving and DSA rounds, lead code should be sufficient, but make sure to practice medium and hard questions as well. They usually ask good level questions, and you can get questions from any topics like trees, graphs, TP, binary search, ad hoc. So essentially everything. So practice everything. Do not leave out anything. And I did not get any CS specific questions or any language or framework specific questions, but I would definitely suggest having a good understanding of all your projects on your resume and practicing SQL as well. So, resume is discussed at the beginning of every interview round. And system design round is very similar to the one taken by every other company, and the level is also similar. So do make sure to go through their blog. If you can somehow convey to the interviewer that you have read all those engineering stuff which they post, that would be a great brownie point because it tells the interviewer that you're actually interested in learning, you read blogs and stuff, and also it'll tell the interviewer that you came prepared for the interview. So both of these are really good indicators. And I'll put my favorite resources for system design and SQL in the description, along with the link to their engineering blog. So do check out all those resources. Hiring manager round was a bit intense, and I felt like I was just defending myself for 1 hour. So I'm not sure if that is usually the case because my interviewer specifically was very cold. I mean, he was not letting me finish any answer and he barely gave any reaction. Usually, hiring manager rounds are fun and more like discussions, but this was kind of different. So, one more important thing, this round was more like an HR round. So, I had to answer a lot of behavioral questions. Make sure before the round you go through some questions online and keep in mind some examples and situations. You can follow the STAR method to answer these types of questions. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. You can probably read about it in detail online. It's a very common technique. And one important thing or a mistake I used to make in these kinds of round was that if there was a question and I had no experience relating to that question, I used to very frankly tell that I have never experienced this. Now, don't do this ever because my recruiter told me that whenever you answer that you have never experienced this, it is not like that it is portraying that you're honest and frank. What the interviewer does is that they simply write not enough data provided by the candidate, which really gives a negative impact. So one of my recruiters, who was really frank and really good, she told me that even if you cannot think of some real life example, just come up with a situation on the spot and tell it to your recruiter. So, I mean, she told me that this is not ethical and this is not right, but then again, it is something you need to do to get hired. So, that is something which you should also keep in mind when you're going for some behavioral rounds. Final is the bar raiser round, which is usually a follow up or a cover up round. So, in case any of your previous rounds didn't go that well or they did not get satisfactory feedback on some particular skills, then they would try to gauge those skills in this round. So, this round can be a generic conversation or a DSA round or even system design round. So, literally anything. But based on your previous round's feedback from your recruiter, you can kind of judge what to expect in this round and prepare accordingly. And also, depends on the recruiter, but sometimes the recruiter also clearly tells you that what is going to be tested in this round. This sums up my interview experience for SD2 role with Uber. Hope you found this helpful. In case you have any doubts or need any kind of help with your preparation, do reach out in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and keep learning. Bye bye.